Hello, welcome. So in this video, I'll show you how you can use Flowise with n8n to build powerful AI agentic workflows. Right. So in this video, we'll be covering these topics. So the first one is how I see them working together, and then the second one is how to connect any Flowise flow, whether it's agent flow or chat flow, with your n8n to retrieve or send data. So retrieval, and sending are the two most common use cases. Either you're retrieving something from your n8n to your Flowise flows, or you're sending something from Flowise to n8n, right? So we'll be seeing how to do that. So talking about the first point, which is using Flowise with n8n, right? Using them in combination. So how I see this is Flowise can be used for making judgments and n8n can be used for execution. So if you consider any AI workflow, not every part of it needs AI in it, right? You don't need decision making or reasoning in every part. So wherever there's decision making and reasoning involved, I would like to use Flowise for it. And then for the other part, I would just like to use n8n for just getting the job done, right? Because essentially n8n is a workflow automation tool. You don't have to write much code. You have all the things that's already set up, drag and drop. Just connect different tools in a sequence, and then you can get the job done, right? So that's how I would like to see this. But this is not the case every single time. There are some points that I've noted here where it makes sense to put everything in one place, and in some cases, it makes sense to separate them, right? So, first point is simple one tool calls can be handled easily inside Flowise, right? If you just have one single task to be achieved, then it makes sense to just put everything within Flowise. You create a custom tool, add some code into it, and then you can get it done, right? Then you don't need a separate workflow. You don't need to set up a separate workflow inside n8n and call it from Flowise, right? It's an overhead. So that way, I would like to put everything inside Flowise if it's just one task that I have to do, right? But there are some multiple events, right? Like for example, if there are some chain of events that needs to be done one after the other, then it makes sense to put that part of the workflow into n8n and then trigger it from chain from Flowise, sorry. So that way we can segregate both. The decision making will be handled by Flowise, and then the actual work, like the labor work, will be done by n8n. So this way we can keep both logics isolated so that we can manage them easier, right? For example, if something goes wrong, we know exactly what might have gone wrong depending on the error that occurs. For example, if there's something wrong in the decision making, then we know there's something wrong in the flow wise, we can go and debug that. And if something wrong in the workflow itself, in the actual task that has to be done, then we know it's something wrong in n8n. Then we go into n8n and then fix the error. So this way we keep the logics isolated, which makes it easier for us to manage them. So this is how I would like to see this. Using them, it's a deadly combination. So we can just build any application of any scale this way by using them together. This is how I see it. Now going to the second topic, which is how to connect any Flowise flow with n8n, right? So these are the sequence of steps that we need to follow in order to set up the connection. I'll go through them one by one. So first step would be to setting up the webhook on n8n. Webhook is basically like a doorway to get access to the workflows itself. And then the second step is to add a custom tool on Flowise. That's where you add a custom tool and write a little bit of JavaScript code inside it so that we can talk to n8n. Right, and then the third part is basically, yeah, that's what the third part is adding code into the custom tool, right? So that we can establish the connection. But before we move on to the first step, I would like to tell you a little bit about some methods, right? Some HTTP methods that's involved in our code. We have different types of HTTP methods in order for us to convey the server on what type of request that we're making, right? So there are different types of methods. For example, get, post, patch, delete. In most of the cases, we'll use get or post, right? So I'll tell you a little bit about these two and when to use them. So get request is made when you want to retrieve something, right? It just involves retrieving some data. And then post request is made when you want to send something. So these two request types are used 99% of the time. Then if you know these two, then I think you can just build any kind of applications. So now going to the first step, which is setting up webhook on n8n. Okay, so here in the dashboard, let's click on create workflow first. So what we'll be doing is we'll be creating two workflows. One to send back simple data. For example, in our case, we'll be sending back a random joke. And then the second workflow will be to accept something, right? Accept something from Flowise. So that's what we'll be setting up. So first we'll set up the webhook workflow to return something, right? So we'll add this webhook node, and then for the second one, so it's called joke API. If you make a request to this endpoint, it just returns you some random joke, right? Let me just copy this URL, go back to this flow, and let me add a HTTP node, right? And add the URL here, go back, and then once we've added this, it's important to respond. It's important to return the data, right? So I'll add this respond to webhook node, and then over here I'll copy paste the joke which was returned. Let's just test this flow first. Let's see how it works. uh, Let me just use respond to webhook node, go back, right? Let me just test this. Let me just copy the link here. Okay, what's happening? Okay, I made the request to this. Let me run this. Let's see what was returned. Okay, I got this, and we need to return the joke which we got, right? So from here, I'm gonna copy paste this part. Sorry, not copy paste, just drag and drop. You don't need to copy paste it. This one, I think it returns in two parts. One is the question and the other one will be the answer. It's called setup and delivery. So let me just do this, right? So what happens is when you make a request to this webhook endpoint, it's going to make a request to this joke endpoint to get a random joke, and then that joke will be returned back. So that's how this flow works. So what we'll do is now let me activate this. Click on webhook, go to production URL, copy this, go back, right? I think it's saved now. I'll make a request again. Yep, so we got the joke back, right? Perfect. So this workflow is now working. So let me just keep it as it is. Now let's go back to our Flowise. I'll just create a simple tool agent for us to see how we can connect with n8n, right? So I'll just add this tool agent, and then for tool, let me just add this custom tool, copy paste this over here. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying copy paste, but I just have to drag and drop it. And for memory, let's use the buffer memory. Connect this here, and connect this one here. And for chat model, it's chat open AI, sorry. And yep, add the key here, right? So I have to create a tool first. Click on create new. Let me just call retrieve joke from DB, something like this. So now let's add code to our custom tool. So you don't have to write anything. If you just click on see example, it automatically gives you a boilerplate code, which is just enough to get started, right? So this particular code makes a get request, as you can see. So like I said, get request is made when you want to retrieve something, right? So in our case, this particular code is enough for us to get data from our n8n. Only thing what we have to do is just replace this URL with our webhook URL, right? Let me just copy this, click on production URL, and just paste it over here, and that's it. So it's just making a request to this webhook and then gets the response and then returns it back to our tool agent. That's what it's doing. And just click on add. Right. Now let me just save this. Let's save it with this name. Right. So let me just run this real quick. So tell me a joke. Now it has to make a request to n8n, retrieve the joke and give it back. Right. Right. So it's something was wrong. Let's see what was happening here. Is this still running? Go to executions. Okay, seems like it worked. Made two requests and as for the webhook, click button. Okay, something wrong over here. Let me go back to editor. Let me turn it off, turn it on. And this time I click on production URL. Sorry, I was using the test URL last time. If I activate this section, this toggle here, then I have to use the production URL. That's how it works. But I was using the test one. So let me just go back to the tool. Click here and replace this with this. Right. Click on save. Let me erase this. Click on tell me a joke. Now what it'll do is it'll use this tool to get the joke, right? See, for example, it made a request to this one. For the first time it threw an error. I don't know why, but for the second time it made a request again and then got back the joke, and then it's presenting it uh, in front of us. I'll do it again. Another one. Yes. Right now it's only making one request, right? So it made another request to our n8n workflow, got the joke, and then presented it to us. If I go back to executions and take a look, right? If I take a look at the last one, this was the one which was returned back. If I click over here, so this was the joke which was returned back, right? Perfect. So this is working fine. What we've done is we have set up the first workflow to get data from our n8n, right? Now we'll see how we can send data from our Flowise to n8n. So let's go back to our n8n dashboard workflow here. I'll create another webhook again. Webhook. Yeah, this one. Let me just keep it as it is, right? Go back to our Flowise canvas and add another custom tool, right? Add it over here. Let's create another function. It's called another tool. It's called as save lead, right? It's called responsible for saving lead details, right? So if you just again, if you click on see example, you get this boilerplate code. You don't need to write any code or something. Just copy this, go to ChatGPT, paste it, and just ask it to uh, convert this code to post request. I think that's it. Convert this code to post request and hit on enter. So basically it gives us this particular code and it also explains what it's actually doing, right? So if you just take a look at this again, so again, this is the URL that we'll be sending our data to, and then in the body we are specifying all the details that we need to send, right? This is in JSON format, as you can see. So let me just copy this, go back to our instance, just replace it with this one, and over here what we can do is we can allow this code this particular tool to accept an attribute called name string. let's say lead name, and we'll send this name to our webhook. Let me just remove this name, and we can grab the name by using the dollar symbol in front, right, in front of this property name. So this is what is mentioned over here as well in the input schema. If you want to access some value from the schema, then you just have to write use the dollar sign and then the variable name, then you can access it, right? So this is what we're doing. And then just replace this URL with the one. Let's copy the production URL, sorry, go back, paste this URL here, and then click on add, right? And then let's connect this tool, save. So I'll just use um, new lead. I'll just ask it to save this new lead, see what it does. It should use this tool to send the data to our Flowise or to our n8n instance. Let's see what happened. Okay, flow must be active. Let me, oh, I forgot to save this. Okay, right now it's saved. So go back, and I'm gonna do the same thing again. Refresh this. Like to try again. What's wrong? Not registered. Okay. So we're seeing this error right in front of us so that we can fix it, right? Production URL. Respond immediately. What we'll do is just we can just add a respond to webhook node again. Let's return back a JSON called as it's a result, or let's call it success. Yes. And that's it. So what happens is, oh sorry, I think I know what the issue is. This has to be post, right? This is not get, this should be post, right? Since we are making a post request, this webhook should also accept post request. It was set to get, so there was a mismatch in the type. That's why we were getting that error. So what we did just now is add this webhook of type post, right? So it accepts data from anywhere, and then it just returns back this JSON object called as success. Yes, right. So this is what we're doing. Make sure to save this time, erase this, and I'm going to do the same. Save this new lead. Now it should go ahead and save. Yes, perfect. The new lead has been saved. So if I just click on this, see tool output success. Yes, this is what we are returning from the n8n, right? And then if I take a look over here, go to executions and click on this. So this is what we got. In the body we got name as Manoj, and then if I go back, if we take a look at the response, so this is what we sent back, right? So the webhook URL, we got this body, and then we sent this data back. So you can just basically send whatever you want, or you can even send the name that was saved. You can do whatever you want in between, right? Purpose of this demo was to show how you can retrieve data from here by setting up a webhook and then returning back data, right? So these two nodes are important even in both cases, webhook and respond to webhook, and in between you can do whatever you want, right? So that's how it works. So this is how you can set up connection between Flowise and n8n to exchange data between each other, right? So you can do this. And this was a pretty quick video. If you want this template, just let me know, I'll share it. It's a pretty simple one. And if you have any other queries related to Flowise and n8n, using them in combination, if you want to see more videos on that topic, feel free to comment down below. So I'll take a look, and then I'll try to make dedicated videos on them. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and have a good day. Bye.